The alarm bells rang through Luna Research Station like angry hornets. Hyunwoo Kim dropped his coffee cup and watched the brown liquid float in the low gravity as he rushed toward the communication center. Something big was happening. Hyunwoo had been Earth's top alien life expert for 15 years, but he had never seen anything like this. The computers were going crazy. Every screen showed the same thing: an incoming message from deep space, not from any human ship or station. This was something else. Admiral So-Young Park arrived at the same time, her military boots making sharp sounds on the metal floor. Behind her came Dr. Min-Ho Lee, the head of Earth's defense research. His face was pale, and his hands shook slightly. "What do we have?" Admiral Park asked. Her voice was calm, but Hyunwoo could see worry in her eyes. "Unknown transmission," said the communication officer. "It's using our own language. Perfect Korean, actually, and English and Chinese. They seem to know all our languages." Dr. Lee sat down at a computer terminal. His fingers moved quickly over the keyboard. "The signal is incredibly strong. Whatever sent this has technology far beyond ours." Hyunwoo felt his stomach drop. Humanity had been in space for 50 years now. They had colonies on Mars, mining, stations in the asteroid belt, and research bases like this one on the moon. But they had never found any signs of alien life. Until now. "Play the message," Admiral Park ordered. The main screen flickered to life. What appeared was not what Hyunwoo had expected. Instead of a strange alien face, he saw what looked like a human-made symbol. A circle with 12 points, like a star. But the voice that spoke was definitely not human. "Greetings, primitive species of the third planet." The voice was cold and mechanical, but somehow it carried emotions, disgust, boredom, like someone talking to insects. "We are the Galactic Council. We represent 12 advanced civilizations that have ruled this part of space for 10,000 of your years. We have watched your pathetic attempts at space travel with mild amusement." Hyunwoo looked at Admiral Park. Her jaw was tight, and her hands were clenched into fists. The voice continued. "Your species has shown disturbing signs of aggression and unpredictable behavior. You fight among yourselves constantly. You destroy your own planet. You spread into space like a disease. This cannot be allowed to continue." Images began appearing on the screen. Spaceships unlike anything humans had ever built. Cities floating in space. Worlds covered in strange, beautiful structures. The technology was clearly thousands of years ahead of Earth's. Therefore, the Galactic Council has made a decision regarding your species. You will comply with the following terms, or face complete destruction. Dr. Lee started typing frantically. He was recording everything, Hyunwoo realized. Every word, every image. "First," the voice said, "you will immediately surrender all military vessels and weapons to Council forces. Your primitive weapons are useless against us, but they could harm other developing species." A new image appeared. Human warships, Earth's most advanced destroyers and cruisers, being torn apart by beams of light from alien vessels. "Second, you will submit to Council oversight. Your governments will be dissolved. Council administrators will take control of all your worlds and space stations." Admiral Park made a sound like a growl. Hyunwoo had never seen her so angry. "Third, you will provide 60% of your population as workers for Council projects. Your species shows some promise for manual labor. The remaining 40% will be allowed to exist under Council supervision." The images now showed humans in what looked like mining operations on alien worlds. They wore simple clothes and worked with basic tools while strange beings watched them. "You have 30 standard galactic cycles to comply. This equals approximately 42 of your Earth days. Any attempt to resist or flee will result in the complete sterilization of all human-occupied worlds." New images filled the screen. Planets burning, entire worlds turned to ash and rock, cities melting under alien weapons. Do not mistake this for negotiation. This is a statement of fact. Your species will submit, or your species will cease to exist. We have done this to 47 other primitive civilizations. None have ever successfully resisted. The screen showed a list of names. Strange words in alien languages. Hyunwoo realized these were the names of dead civilizations. Species that had been wiped out for refusing to surrender. We are sending a small fleet to your system to oversee your compliance. They will arrive in 25 galactic cycles. We suggest you use this time to prepare your population for their new roles." The voice paused. When it spoke again, Hyunwoo could hear something like amusement. "We must admit your species has surprised us in one way. Most primitive civilizations do not spread beyond their home world before we find them. Your expansion shows unusual determination. This is why we offer you the chance to serve, rather than simply destroying you immediately. However, do not let this go to your primitive heads. You are still nothing compared to the Council's power. Your largest ships could not scratch the hull of our smallest vessel. Your most powerful weapons could not penetrate our weakest shields." More images appeared. Massive alien ships that dwarfed Earth's space stations. Weapons that seemed to bend space itself. Technology that looked like magic. To demonstrate our power, we will now show you what happened to the last species that refused our generous offer. The screen filled with images of a beautiful world covered in crystal cities. Then came the alien ships. In seconds, the entire planet was consumed by fire. When the flames cleared, nothing remained but cooling rock. The Zephyrian collective thought their crystal technology made them special. They were wrong. Their 18 billion people are now cosmic dust. Their magnificent cities are gone. Their art, their culture, their entire history, erased. Hyunwoo felt sick. 18 billion people, gone in seconds. We trust this clarifies the situation. Comply, and your species lives to serve. Resist, and your species dies completely. There is no third option. The transmission began to repeat, cycling back to the beginning. Admiral Park gestured to the communication officer who cut the signal. The room was silent, except for the hum of machinery. Hyunwoo looked around at the faces of his colleagues. Fear, anger, despair, but also something else. Something that looked like determination. "Well," Admiral Park said finally, "that could have gone better." Dr. Lee stood up from his computer. "I've analyzed the signal. It came from approximately 12 light years away. If they're telling the truth about their fleet movements, we have about 6 weeks before they arrive." "Are they telling the truth about their power?" Hyunwoo asked. Dr. Lee looked uncomfortable. "Based on what they showed us, yes. Their technology is far beyond ours. Those ships they displayed would outclass our entire fleet." Admiral Park nodded slowly. "Hyunwoo, I need you to prepare a report for Earth Command. Include everything. Every detail about their demands, their timeline, their capabilities." "What are you thinking?" Hyunwoo asked. The Admiral smiled, but it was not a pleasant smile. "I'm thinking the Galactic Council just made a very serious mistake." "What mistake?" "They have superior technology, superior numbers. They've done this before to dozens of species." "The mistake," Admiral Park said, "is thinking they know what humans are capable of." Dr. Lee cleared his throat. "Admiral, with respect, they're right about our technology. Our best ships can't match what they showed us." "Our current ships," Admiral Park corrected. "Dr. Lee, I think it's time we had a conversation about some of your special projects." Dr. Lee's face went pale again. "Admiral, those projects are classified, beyond top secret. Even most of Earth Command doesn't know about them." "Well," Admiral Park said, looking at the now dark screen where the alien message had played, "I think it's time to change that, because if the Galactic Council wants a war, they're going to get one, just not the war they're expecting." Hyunwoo felt a chill run down his spine, not from fear of the aliens, but from the look in Admiral Park's eyes. He had the sudden feeling that the Galactic Council had no idea what they had just unleashed. The emergency meeting room deep inside Earth Command was filled with tension. Admiral So-Young Park sat at the head of a long metal table, looking at faces she had not seen together in years. These were Earth's most secret military leaders, people whose very existence was classified. Dr. Min-Ho Lee activated a privacy shield around the room. The walls hummed with energy that would block any listening devices. What they were about to discuss could not leave this room. "Gentlemen and ladies," Admiral Park began, "Earth has just received its first communication from alien life. Unfortunately, it was a threat to destroy our entire species." She played the alien message again. The faces around the table grew hard as they listened to the Galactic Council's demands. When it finished, the room was quiet for a long moment. Engineer Ji-Hoon Choi spoke first. He was a thin man with quick eyes and hands that never stopped moving. "Admiral, how much do they know about our real capabilities?" "That's what we're here to find out," Admiral Park replied. "Dr. Lee, tell them about the Prometheus Protocol." Dr. Lee stood up and activated a holographic display. Images of strange technology filled the air above the table. "What I'm about to show you has been classified for 30 years. It all started with the Roswell incident." Captain Yoon-ji Nam raised her eyebrows. "That old story about flying saucers? I thought that was proven false." "The public story was false," Dr. Lee said. "But something did crash in Roswell in 1947. Not a weather balloon, not a secret human aircraft, an alien scout ship." New images appeared in the hologram. Twisted metal that seemed to shift and change color. Strange symbols carved into what looked like crystal. Technology that defied explanation. For decades, we tried to understand it. We made almost no progress until 1987, when we had our second encounter. A damaged alien ship crashed in the Pacific Ocean. This time, we were ready. The hologram showed underwater recovery operations, teams of divers and submarines working to bring up alien technology from the ocean floor. This second crash gave us the breakthrough we needed. We learned that the first ship was just a probe. The second was a survey vessel from a different alien species. They had been mapping our solar system. Reconnaissance specialist Tae Young Seo leaned forward. "How many species know about us?" "At least 5, Dr. Lee replied. "Maybe more. They've been watching us for decades. Some are curious, some are hostile, and some, like the Galactic Council, see us as a problem to be solved." Admiral Park took over. "The important thing is that we've been preparing. Dr. Lee's team has spent 30 years reverse engineering alien technology. We've made incredible progress." Dr. Yoo-Jin Han, the quantum physicist, activated her own display. "We've developed weapons based on alien energy manipulation. Our ships look primitive from the outside, but their internal systems are far more advanced than anything these council species expect." The hologram showed cutaway views of human warships. On the outside, they looked like normal Earth vessels. But inside, strange new technologies glowed with alien energy. "Our newest destroyers carry quantum disruption cannons," Dr. Han continued. "They can tear apart matter at the subatomic level. Our cruisers have temporal shields that make incoming attacks phase through them harmlessly." Tactical expert Dong-Min Kang activated another display. "We've also been building in secret. The Council thinks Earth has maybe 50 warships. They're wrong." The hologram showed a hidden construction facility built inside a large asteroid. Dozens of ships were being built in zero gravity, using alien construction techniques learned from the crashed vessels. "We have over 300 ships," Kang said. "Most are hidden throughout the solar system. Some are stationed beyond Pluto, where no alien scout has ever looked." Captain Nam looked amazed. "How did you keep this secret for so long?" "Compartmentalization," Admiral Park replied. "Each team only knew part of the project. Only a few of us knew the full scope, and we've been planning for this exact scenario." President Sung Hee-yoon's voice came through the secure communications system. She was speaking from the hidden command center beneath the Blue House in Seoul. "Admiral Park, what are our chances if they attack?" "Better than they think, madam." "President, but we need to be smart about this. The Council expects us to either surrender or fight a conventional space battle. We're going to do neither." Engineer Choi grinned. "Operation Burning Sky?" "Operation Burning Sky," Admiral Park confirmed. "Dr. Lee, explain to the President what that means." Dr. Lee's expression became very serious. "Madam President, we're not going to defend Earth. We're going to eliminate the threat completely. The Galactic Council has made the mistake of thinking humans are primitive and predictable. We're going to show them they're wrong about both." The hologram changed to show a map of nearby star systems. Red dots marked known alien worlds and installations. "We've been tracking Council communications for 15 years, Dr. Lee continued. "We know where their homeworlds are. We know where their military bases are. We know where their leaders live." President Yoon's voice was quiet. "You're talking about a preemptive strike?" "We're talking about ending the threat permanently," Admiral Park said. "The Council has destroyed 47 other species. They're planning to destroy us too. We have one advantage they don't expect. We know they're coming. Captain Nam studied the star map. How do we reach their worlds? Even with alien technology, we're talking about distances of dozens of light years. Dr. Han smiled. We've made improvements to their faster-than-light travel. Our ships can now cross 50 light years. In less than a week, the Council ships that are coming here will take 6 weeks to reach us. We can hit their homeworlds and be back before they even arrive. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. They were talking about the biggest military operation in human history. Not just defending Earth, but attacking alien civilizations across dozens of star systems. Tae-young SEO raised a concern. What about innocent aliens? Surely not everyone in the Council is hostile. Intelligence suggests the Council rules through fear, Admiral Park replied. Many species are forced to serve them. Our plan includes liberation as well as destruction. We hit military targets and government centers. We free oppressed species. We only destroy those who actively threaten others. President Yoon spoke again. How long do we have to prepare? The Council fleet will be here in 6 weeks, Dr. Lee said. But our strike forces can be ready to launch in 10 days. We've been preparing for this for years. Engineer Choi was already working on his tablet. I can have the quantum weapon systems fully operational in 8 days. The new ships just need final testing. The stealth systems are ready now, Kang added. Our ships can approach Council worlds without being detected until it's too late. Admiral Park looked around the table. Ladies and gentlemen, the Galactic Council has just declared war on humanity. They think we're primitive insects they can step on without consequence. They're about to learn that humans don't surrender. We eliminate threats. Dr. Han activated one final hologram. It showed Earth surrounded by a network of hidden defenses and strike forces. The Council is expecting to find a frightened primitive species begging for mercy. Instead, they're going to find empty space where their civilizations used to be. President Yoon made her decision. Admiral Park, you have full authorization for Operation Burning Sky. Do whatever is necessary to protect humanity. Understood, Madam President. Dr. Lee, how soon can we have our first strike force ready? 72 hours, Dr. Lee replied. The ships are built. The weapons are tested. We just need to load supplies and brief the crews. Then we launch in 3 days, Admiral Park said. The Galactic Council wanted to give us 42 days to prepare for surrender. We're going to use that time to prepare their funerals instead. As the meeting ended and the participants began to leave, Engineer Choi paused at the door. Admiral, what if we're wrong? What if their technology is even more advanced than we think? Admiral Park smiled coldly. Then we'll learn from our mistakes and adapt. That's what humans do. We survive, we overcome, and we make sure that anyone who threatens us regrets it completely. The room emptied, leaving only the hum of machinery and the weight of decision. In 72 hours, humanity would go from being the threatened to being the hunter. The Galactic Council had no idea what was coming for them. High Commander Velkoth stood on the bridge of the Council flagship Eternal Dominion, watching the stars shift as his massive fleet moved through hyperspace toward the primitive human system. His 4 arms moved gracefully as he reviewed reports from his subordinates. Everything was proceeding exactly as planned. The Velthari had been leading the Galactic Council for 3,000 years. In that time, they had encountered hundreds of primitive species trying to expand beyond their home worlds. The humans were no different from any of the others. They would either submit or die. Status report, Velkoth commanded. His voice carried the authority of someone who had never been seriously challenged. Sub-Commander Thexna approached, her insectoid features clicking as she spoke. All 12 fleets are on schedule, High Commander. We will reach the human system in exactly 25 standard cycles as promised. Velkoth nodded with satisfaction. The humans would have just enough time to panic and realize their hopeless situation. Some species surrendered immediately after receiving the Council's message. Others needed to see the overwhelming force approaching their worlds before they accepted reality. What do our scouts report about human military preparations? Velkoth asked. Tactical Advisor Nethlos, a being of living crystal, resonated with information. Minimal activity, High Commander. They appear to be moving some ships around their system, but nothing that suggests serious resistance. Their largest vessels are still smaller than our escort frigates. Predictable, Velkoth said. Have they attempted any communication with us? No, High Commander. Complete silence since we delivered the ultimatum. This usually indicates acceptance. On the other side of the bridge, Admiral Kix Ara of the hive mind species was coordinating with her collective consciousness. Her voice spoke for billions of connected minds. The hive has experience with carbon-based tool users like the humans. They typically become excellent workers once properly motivated. We estimate 60% survival rate during the transition to servitude. Commander Zeftal of the Zefta crystalline species added his analysis. Our preliminary scans of their system show significant mineral resources. Their asteroid belt alone contains enough rare metals to fund Council operations for decades. The gaseous, being known as Nebel, whispered through the ship's atmosphere. Their primitive fusion technology shows potential for improvement. With proper guidance, they could become adequate technicians for basic maintenance work. Velkoth felt the familiar satisfaction of a successful operation. This was how it always went. Initial resistance, followed by careful analysis of the species' potential value, then efficient integration into the Council's vast civilization. The humans would soon learn that resistance was not only futile, but unnecessary. Life under Council rule was far better than whatever primitive existence they had before. High Commander, Subcommander Thexna reported, we're receiving requests from several Council member species about resource allocation for the human system. Expected, Velkoth replied. The Traders Guild wants mining rights. The Agricultural Collective wants the human farming worlds. The Manufacturing Syndicate wants the industrial facilities. All standard requests. He activated a holographic display showing the human solar system. It was pathetically small compared to Council space, but it would serve its purpose. We'll establish the usual administrative structure, Velkoth decided. Primary world under direct Council control, secondary worlds assigned to member species based on their specializations. The humans themselves will be distributed according to their aptitudes. The ship's intelligence officer, a multidimensional being called Vortex, materialized near the command center. High Commander, our analysis of human communication intercepts shows significant psychological trauma in their population. They appear to be experiencing what their language calls panic and despair. Natural response, Admiral Kixera noted. The Hive remembers similar reactions from 43 of the previous species we've processed. The fear response typically fades within 2 generations of proper conditioning. Velkoth was pleased. Fear was useful during the transition period. It made species more compliant and reduced the need for harsh enforcement measures. The humans were reacting exactly as expected. Meanwhile, on Earth, Scout Commander Ara-O was completing her final reconnaissance mission before the human strike forces launched. Her ship, disguised as a harmless research vessel, had been monitoring Council communications for weeks. She sat in the cramped cockpit of her stealth ship, listening to the alien conversations with growing amazement. The Council leaders were discussing humans like they were already conquered. They were dividing up Earth's resources and debating which species would be best suited for managing human labor camps. Command, this is Scout 7, Ara whispered into her communication system. I'm recording everything. These aliens have no idea what's coming. Strategic Coordinator. Wujin Bayek's voice came back through the secure channel. What's their fleet composition? 12 battle groups, each with about 30 ships. Their flagship is massive, probably 3 kilometers long. But Command, they're not even maintaining proper security protocols. They think this is just a routine operation. Any signs they suspect our real capabilities? None whatsoever. They keep referring to our primitive technology and discussing how to best use human workers in their mining operations. They're completely confident this will be another easy conquest. Back on the Council flagship, Dr. Hyejin Park would have been fascinated by the conversation taking place in the ship's science section. The Council's xenobiologists were discussing human anatomy and psychology as if they were studying insects. Carbon-based, mammalian species with standard bilateral symmetry, one scientist noted. High emotional response to threats against offspring. Useful for motivation during work assignments. Adequate manual dexterity for precision tasks, another added. Limited lifespan reduces long-term maintenance costs. Overall assessment, acceptable worker species with good cost-benefit ratio. The Council's arrogance was absolute. They had been the dominant power in this region of space for so long that they could not imagine being challenged by anyone, especially not by a species that had only recently developed interstellar travel. High Commander Velkoth moved to the observation deck to watch the stars. Soon, he would add another system to the Council's vast territory. Another species would learn to serve the greater good of galactic civilization. It was a routine that had become almost boring in its predictability. "High Commander," came a voice from behind him. "We've received the final deployment orders from the Council Senate." Velkoth turned to face Intelligence Coordinator Mexdar, a being whose species communicated through color changes in their skin. Currently, the colors showed confidence and satisfaction. "The Senate has approved standard integration protocols," Mexdar reported. "Minimal resistance expected. Full integration estimated within 5 standard years. Human population to be reduced to sustainable levels and redistributed throughout Council space as needed." "Efficient," Velkoth replied. "Any specific concerns from the Senate?" "Only the usual warnings about primitive species sometimes attempting desperate final attacks. Standard defensive measures should be more than adequate." Velkoth dismissed the concern with a gesture. In 3,000 years, no primitive species had ever successfully resisted Council integration. The humans would be no different. What none of the Council leaders knew was that their communications were being intercepted by human intelligence officers. Every plan they made, every resource allocation they discussed, every weakness they revealed was being recorded and analyzed. Lieutenant Chan Woo Kim sat in Earth's primary intelligence center, translating the alien conversations in real time. His job was to identify key targets for the coming human strike. As he listened to the Council leaders casually discussing the enslavement of humanity, his anger grew cold and focused. "Commander," he reported to his superior, "they're not even considering the possibility of real resistance. Their fleet formations are designed for intimidation, not actual combat. They're bunched together for maximum visual impact." "Perfect for our torpedo spreads," came the reply. "What about their command structure?" "All decisions come from the flagship. Take out Velkoth and their entire fleet loses coordination. They're too confident to have proper backup command protocols." The irony was perfect. The Council's greatest strength, their absolute confidence in their superiority, had become their greatest weakness. They were so certain of victory that they had become careless. In just a few more days, they would learn the price of underestimating humanity. But for now, they continued their approach to Earth, discussing human slave quotas and resource extraction schedules, completely unaware that they were flying into the most carefully prepared trap in galactic history. High Commander Velkoth stood on his bridge, watching the stars, and felt nothing but satisfaction. Soon the human problem would be solved, and the galaxy would be a more orderly place. The alarm that woke High Commander Velkoth was not the gentle chime that usually announced routine status updates. This was the harsh, urgent warning that meant something had gone catastrophically wrong. Velkoth rushed to the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, his 4 arms working quickly to secure his ceremonial armor. Around him, the massive Council flagship buzzed with confused activity. Officers from a dozen different species were shouting reports in their various languages. "Report!" Velkoth demanded as he reached the command center. Sub-Commander Thexna turned toward him, her insectoid features twitching with stress. "High Commander, we've lost contact with the Second Fleet." "Define lost contact," Velkoth said, though a cold feeling was growing in his stomach. "Complete communications blackout. 47 ships under Admiral Kreshetaw's command. They were investigating unusual energy readings near the Velthari homeworld. They should have reported back 6 hours ago." Velkoth felt his confidence waver for the first time in decades. "Could it be a technical malfunction?" "Negative, High Commander. We've tried all communication frequencies. Emergency beacons, quantum entanglement channels, even primitive radio waves. Nothing." On Earth, Lieutenant Chan Woo Kim was coordinating the human response from the hidden command center beneath the Pacific Ocean. Banks of computers showed the positions of human strike forces across dozens of star systems. The first phase of Operation Burning Sky was proceeding exactly as planned. "Phoenix Squadron reports successful strike on Velthari Prime," Chan Woo announced to the assembled officers. "All military installations destroyed. Government centers eliminated. Admiral Kreshta's fleet completely neutralized. Admiral So Young Park studied the tactical displays with satisfaction. Casualties? Minimal on our side. The enemy never saw us coming. Their planetary defenses were designed to stop. Conventional attacks, not quantum disruption weapons. Captain Young Soo Lee activated his communication system from the bridge of the human ship Defiance. His voice came through clearly despite being 30 light-years away. Command, this is Strike Force Alpha. We've completed our mission at the Hive Mind homeworld. Their collective consciousness has been severed. Repeat, the Hive is dead. The efficiency was remarkable. Years of preparation and planning had paid off perfectly. The human strike forces had launched from hidden bases throughout the solar system, using improved alien faster-than-light technology to reach Council homeworlds before anyone realized what was happening. Back on the Council flagship, panic was beginning to spread. Reports were coming in from across Council space. Communications with major worlds were going dark one by one. High Commander, Tactical Advisor Nethlos's crystal form was flickering with stress. We've lost contact with the Zefta crystal foundries, and the Nebulon gas mining stations, and the manufacturing syndicate's primary facilities. Velkoth stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Red indicators were appearing throughout Council space, marking worlds and installations that had gone silent. It was impossible. No primitive species had the capability to strike across such distances simultaneously. Could this be some kind of coordinated rebellion? He asked desperately. Negative, Intelligence Coordinator Mexdar replied, his skin showing colors of confusion and fear. Our subject species lack the technology for interstellar communication, much less coordinated military action. Admiral Kiksara, speaking for the collective consciousness of her species, added another troubling report. The Hive can no longer sense our homeworld collective. This suggests not just communication disruption, but actual physical destruction of the neural networks. The truth was beginning to dawn on Velkoth, though his mind resisted accepting it. The humans, he whispered. Impossible, Subcommander Thexana insisted. Our intelligence shows they have maybe 50 primitive vessels. They lack the technology for faster-than-light travel. On the human ship Retribution, Specialist In Young Cho was coordinating the next phase of Earth's response. Her screens showed the locations of every Council fleet and installation. Human intelligence had been mapping these targets for years. Strike Force Beta, you are cleared for assault on the Traders Guild financial centers, she announced. Strike Force Gamma, proceed to the Agricultural Collective's food production worlds. The human strategy was brutally simple. Don't just defeat the Council's military, destroy their entire civilization, cut off their resources, eliminate their infrastructure, leave nothing that could be used to rebuild or retaliate. Dr. Yu Jin Han, monitoring the attacks from Earth's Lunar Command Center, was amazed by the effectiveness of their modified alien weapons. The quantum disruption cannons are performing beyond expectations. We're not just destroying ships, we're unraveling the molecular structure of entire installations. Engineer Ji-Hoon Choi added his own report. The temporal displacement fields are working perfectly. Council weapons are phasing right through our ships harmlessly. They can't even hit us. On the Council flagship, desperation was replacing confusion. Velkoth activated the emergency communications system, broadcasting on all frequencies toward Earth. Human vessels, this is High Commander Velkoth of the Galactic Council. We demand you cease your unprovoked attacks immediately. The response came from Admiral Park herself, broadcasting from the bridge of the human ship Vengeance. Her voice was calm and cold. High Commander Velkoth, this is Admiral So Young Park of the Earth Defense Force. Your demand is rejected. You declared war on humanity. We're simply winning it. This is impossible, Velkoth transmitted back. Your species lacks the technology for these attacks. Your intelligence was flawed, Admiral Park replied. You assumed we were primitive because we wanted you to assume that. Congratulations, you fell for the oldest trick in the book. Communications. Officer Bitna Yu activated Earth's galaxy-wide broadcast system. Her message went out on every frequency, in every language used by Council species. This is Earth Command broadcasting to all species in Council space. The Galactic Council threatened to destroy humanity. We have responded by destroying them. Instead, Any species that participated in or supported the Council's threat will face the same fate as their leaders. The message continued, listing the names of every Council homeworld, every military installation, every government center that had been targeted. The list was comprehensive and terrifying. However, Bitna continued, any species that was forced to serve the Council against their will should know that Earth offers liberation, not conquest. Surrender now, and you will be freed from Council oppression. On the Council flagship, the magnitude of the disaster was becoming clear. Nearly 60% of Council space had gone dark. Entire civilizations that had ruled the galaxy for millennia had been wiped out in a matter of hours. How many ships do they actually have? Velkoth demanded. Sensors are detecting over 400 human vessels, Nethlos reported, his crystal form now barely visible due to stress. All using technology that should not exist. Commander Zeftal of the Zefta species transmitted his final report before his homeworld fell silent. Human ships are using our own technology against us, but improved. They have surpassed our capabilities in every way. The gaseous being Nebel whispered through the ship's atmosphere one last time. We underestimated them completely. They have been preparing for this for decades. Velkoth realized with growing horror that the humans had turned the Council's own arrogance against them. Every species the Council had conquered, every technology they had stolen, every world they had destroyed, the humans had been watching and learning. High Commander, Subcommander Thexna reported with a voice full of dread. Human ships are approaching our position. They'll be here in 30 minutes. Velkoth looked at his tactical display. The massive Council fleet that had seemed so powerful was now surrounded by human vessels that had appeared as if from nowhere. Ships using technology that bent space and time itself. Signal the fleet, Velkoth ordered. All ships, prepare for... His order was cut off as the human ships opened. Fire. But these were not the primitive kinetic weapons the Council had expected. These were weapons that rewrote the laws of physics. Commander Dongmin Kang, coordinating the assault from the human ship judgment, watched with satisfaction as Council ships simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed. Deleted from reality itself. Quantum. Deletion successful, he reported. Enemy flagship is the only remaining target. Admiral Park's voice came through the communication system. This is Admiral Park calling High Commander Velkoth. Your fleet is gone. Your government is gone. Your military is gone. Your civilization is gone. You have 30 seconds to surrender before we delete you from existence as well. Velkoth looked around his bridge at the faces of his officers. Fear, despair, and the terrible realization that they had awakened something far more dangerous than they could have imagined. We surrender, he transmitted, his voice broken. Too late, Admiral, Park replied. You threaten to exterminate humanity. We don't negotiate with genocidal maniacs. We eliminate them. The Eternal Dominion, flagship of the once mighty Galactic Council, simply vanished. One moment it existed. The next moment there was only empty space where it had been. Field Commander Kyung Min Han filed his final report from the battlefield. All Council military assets eliminated, all 6 months after the destruction of the Council fleet. Commander Jae-ho Nam stood on the bridge of the human ship Predator, watching through the view screen as another alien world burned below them. This had been a Council military depot, hidden, in a system the aliens thought humans would never find. They had been wrong. All targets eliminated, reported his weapons officer. No survivors detected. Jae-ho nodded grimly. Mark this system as cleared. Move to the next coordinates. The hunt for remaining Council forces had become humanity's primary mission. Earth's new faster-than-light ships could cross the galaxy in weeks, and they were systematically tracking down every trace of the civilization that had threatened to destroy them. Dr. Soo-Jin Lim, head of Earth's new Xenotechnology Division, had perfected travel systems that made the old Council ships look like toys. Her innovations combined human engineering with captured alien technology, creating vessels that could appear anywhere in the galaxy without warning. Predator Command. This is Dr. Lim, came her voice over the communication system. I'm transmitting new target coordinates. Our deep space sensors have detected a hidden Council base in the outer rim. Understood, Doctor. How far out? 67 light-years. Your ship can make it in 4 days with the new quantum drives. Jae-ho smiled coldly. 4 days to cross 67 light-years. The old Council ships would have needed months to make the same journey. Now humanity could strike anywhere in the galaxy faster than their enemies could even send a warning. On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Myung-Hoon Park was leading a different kind of mission. His deep space fleet had discovered something unexpected. A cluster of worlds where council species had once lived peacefully before being forced into the military alliance. "Captain," reported his science officer, "we're detecting transmissions from the planet below. The local population appears to be trying to surrender." Captain Park studied the readings carefully. "What species?" "Unknown. Definitely not one of the primary council races. These seemed to be civilians who were conscripted into service." This was the difficult part of humanity's new role in the galaxy. Not every alien species had willingly joined the Council's threat against Earth. Many had been forced to serve, their own worlds held hostage to ensure compliance. Earth Command had issued clear orders about this situation. Species that had been coerced into supporting the Council could surrender and be spared. But any species that had actively participated in planning humanity's destruction would face the same fate as their leaders. "Open a communication channel," Captain Park ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing what appeared to be a group of tall, thin aliens with silver skin and large, dark eyes. They looked terrified. "Please," one of them said in broken Council standard language, "we surrender. We never wanted to fight your species. Council forced us to provide ships and supplies. Our families were held as guarantee of cooperation." Captain Park considered this carefully. Earth's intelligence had confirmed that several species had been coerced, rather than choosing to support the Council willingly. "I am Captain Park of the Earth Defense Force," he replied. "Our records show your species provided military supplies to the Council fleet that threatened Earth. However, we also have evidence that you were forced into this cooperation. Is this correct?" "Yes, yes," the alien leader said desperately. "Council took our children, said they would be killed if we refused to help. We had no choice." This was exactly the kind of situation Admiral So-Young Park had predicted. The galaxy was full of species that had been oppressed by the Council for centuries. Earth's war wasn't against them. It was against the tyrants who had enslaved them. "Your surrender is accepted," Captain Park announced. "However, you will need to provide full information about any remaining Council installations or hidden bases. And you will never again threaten any peaceful species, do you understand?" "We understand. We will help. Please, we just want our children back." Meanwhile, Admiral Siri Kim was coordinating the most ambitious phase of the human campaign. Her task force was systematically hunting down the scattered remnants of the Council's primary species, the Velthari, the hive minds, and the crystal beings who had been the core of the galactic threat. "Admiral," reported her intelligence officer, "we've located a Velthari survivor colony in the distant arm. Approximately 10,000 individuals, including several former military commanders." Admiral Kim studied the tactical display. The colony was hidden in a system with multiple asteroid fields, clearly chosen for concealment rather than resources. The Velthari were trying to hide and rebuild. "What's their military capability?" "Minimal. They appear to have salvaged maybe a dozen ships from the main fleet destruction. No major weapons detected." Admiral Kim made her decision quickly. The Velthari had been the primary architects of the threat against Earth. They had planned humanity's enslavement and extinction with casual indifference. There would be no mercy for them. All ships, attack formation, no survivors. The human fleet moved through the asteroid field like sharks through water. Their advanced sensors could track every ship, every installation, every individual Velthari trying to hide among the rocks. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted less than an hour. The Velthari ships were destroyed before they could even charge their weapons. Their hidden bases were deleted from existence by quantum cannons. Within minutes, nothing remained but drifting debris. "Target eliminated," Admiral Kim reported to Earth Command. "The Velthari are now extinct." Back on Earth, Engineer Dae-Yoon Song was overseeing the conversion of former Council worlds into human research and military bases. Her teams were studying alien technology and adapting it for human use, while also establishing strategic outposts throughout the galaxy. "The terraforming of the former Hive homeworld is proceeding ahead of schedule," she reported to Admiral Park. "We'll have a fully operational research facility there within 6 months. Any useful technology recovered?" Significant advances in biological manipulation and neural networking. Nothing we can't improve on, but definitely worth studying. The Council species had some interesting ideas, even if they used them for oppression instead of progress. The irony wasn't lost on any of the human commanders. The same technology the Council had used to dominate other species was now being turned to peaceful purposes under human guidance. Worlds that had been strip-mined for resources were being restored. Species that had been enslaved were being liberated. Commander Kyungmin Han was documenting the systematic dismantling of Council infrastructure across the galaxy. His reports painted a picture of complete transformation. In less than a year, humanity had gone from unknown primitives to the dominant force in galactic civilization. Final tally of eliminated Council assets, he transmitted to Earth Command. 437 military installations destroyed. 63 homeworlds liberated or neutralized. 12 major species either extinct or scattered beyond. The ability to threaten anyone. What about the liberated species? Came the response from Earth. 43 species have formally surrendered and requested protection. They're providing full cooperation with our intelligence gathering and seem genuinely grateful for liberation from Council oppression. This was the part of the operation that surprised even the human leadership. Many alien species, once freed from Council control, were eager to work with humanity. They had lived under tyranny for so long that Earth's relatively benevolent approach seemed miraculous to them. Dr. Yujin Han, monitoring the global situation from her laboratory on Luna, was amazed by how quickly the galaxy had changed. Admiral, we're receiving requests for protection from species in 12 different sectors. Word is spreading that humans actually keep their promises about liberation. How are we handling the requests? Case-by-case evaluation. Species that were genuinely oppressed by the Council are being offered protection and trade agreements. Species that willingly collaborated are being monitored but left alone unless they cause trouble. The human approach was proving remarkably effective. Unlike the Council, which had ruled through fear and oppression, Earth was offering genuine partnership to species that had been forced into submission. Captain Min Kyung-oh was leading one of the most important missions. Peaceful first contact with species that had never been part of the Council's territory. These civilizations had heard rumors about the destruction of the galactic government and were curious about the humans who had accomplished it. First contact with the Stellar Federation completed successfully, she reported. They're interested in establishing diplomatic relations. Apparently, they've been hiding from the Council for centuries, and they're relieved to learn the threat is gone. Any concerns about human expansion? Initial wariness, but our diplomatic protocols are working well. When we explain that we're liberators rather than conquerors, most species are willing to talk. The transformation was remarkable. In less than a year, humanity had gone from being an unknown species on the edge of extinction to being the stabilizing force that was rebuilding galactic civilization on better principles. But the hunt for Council remnants continued. Admiral Park's standing orders were clear. Any remaining Council military forces would be eliminated completely. The threat to Earth would never. 1 year after the Galactic Council's ultimatum to Earth, Ambassador Hyunwoo Kim stood in what had once been the Council's greatest achievement, the Central Nexus, a massive space station that had served as the government center for 12 species across 1,000 star systems. Now it was Earth's new galactic relations headquarters. The irony was not lost on him. The same species that had been dismissed as primitive insects now controlled the very heart of galactic civilization. Ambassador, said his aide, a young human officer named Taemin Song, the morning briefings are ready. Hyunwoo nodded and walked to the main briefing room. Through the massive viewing windows, he could see human ships moving in formation around the station. Earth's fleet now numbered in the thousands, with new vessels being constructed at shipyards. Throughout former Council space, Dr. Min-ho Lee, now Earth's Director of Galactic Research, was waiting with his daily report. His hair had gone gray over the past year, but his eyes were bright with the satisfaction of completed revenge. Status report on former Council territories? Hyunwoo asked. Complete, Dr. Lee replied simply. The last Velthari hideout was eliminated 3 days ago. Captain Yeonwoo Jung's team confirmed no survivors. The Velthari species is now officially extinct. Hyunwoo reviewed the data on his tablet. The thoroughness was impressive and terrifying. The species that had planned humanity's enslavement had been hunted down across the entire galaxy. Every world, every ship, every individual member of the primary council races had been systematically eliminated. What about the hive mind remnants? Also extinct. The neural networks that connected, their collective consciousness were completely severed. Individual hive creatures cannot survive without the mental connection. They simply died when we cut the links. The crystal beings. The Zefta proved more difficult to track due to their ability to hide in asteroid fields, but Admiral Siri Kim's final sweep eliminated the last colony 2 weeks ago. Their crystalline structure made them easy to detect once we developed the right sensors. The reports continued in the same vein. Species after species that had participated in the threat against Earth had been reduced to nothing. Not conquered, not subjugated. Simply removed from existence. Captain Min Kyung. O entered the briefing room with a different kind of report. As Earth's Director of Liberated Species Affairs, her job was much more pleasant than hunting down council. Remnants! Ambassador, I have updates on the peaceful integration programs. Please proceed. 57 species have now formally requested protection under Earth's authority. The Stellar Federation has agreed to a full alliance. The Rim Worlds Confederation wants to establish trade agreements, and the Aquatic Collective is offering to share their deep ocean technologies. Hyunwoo smiled. This was the part of the new galactic order that he truly enjoyed. Unlike the Council, which had ruled through fear and oppression, Earth was building genuine partnerships with species that wanted them. Any problems with the integration process? Minimal. Most species are so grateful to be free from Council oppression that they're eager to cooperate. We've had to reassure several groups that we're not planning to enslave them like the Council did. The transformation of galactic civilization had been remarkable. Worlds that had been strip-mined for resources were being restored. Species that had been forced into military service were being allowed to pursue their own interests. Technologies that had been restricted to Council elites were being shared freely. Admiral So-Young Park, now Supreme Commander of Earth's Galactic Defense Force, joined the briefing via hologram from her flagship somewhere in the Outer Rim. Ambassador, I'm pleased to report that Operation Burning Sky is officially complete. We have eliminated the last confirmed Council military installation. No hostile forces remain anywhere in known space. Casualties? Human casualties remain at exactly 0. Allied casualties are also minimal, mostly accidents during salvage operations. Enemy casualties? Admiral Park paused. Complete. The numbers were staggering when Hyunwoo thought about them. In 1 year, humanity had eliminated entire civilizations that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. Trillions of beings who had threatened Earth were now cosmic dust. Officer Han-Sol Kim, Earth's new Director of Galactic Security, presented the final assessment that everyone had been waiting for. Ambassador, I can now confirm with absolute certainty that no species, organization, or individual that participated in the threat against Earth remains alive anywhere in the galaxy. The danger to humanity has been completely eliminated. What about hidden bases or sleeper agents? We've spent the last 6 months conducting deep space surveys using our improved sensor technology. Every system within 200 light-years of Earth has been thoroughly scanned. No hostile technology, no hidden weapons, no secret installations. The Council's ability to threaten anyone is gone forever. Hyunwoo felt a weight lift from his shoulders that he hadn't even realized he was carrying. For a year, there had always been the possibility that some Council remnant would resurface and try to complete their original plan. Now that possibility was gone. Dr. Ji-Won An, Earth's chief xenoarchaeologist, had been conducting surveys of former Council territories to understand what humanity had inherited. Ambassador, she reported, my teams have completed their analysis of former Council space. We now control approximately 40% of known galactic territory. This includes the most strategically important systems and the richest resource deposits. What about the other 60%? Mostly inhabited by species that were never part of the Council's alliance. They've been sending diplomatic messages expressing their desire for peaceful relations with Earth. No one wants to end up like the Velthari. The fear factor was undeniable. Word had spread throughout the galaxy about what happened to species that threatened humanity. The message was clear and simple. Leave Earth and its allies alone, and you'll be left alone. Threaten them, and you'll cease to exist. Captain Yanwu Jung provided the final technical assessment. Her teams had been studying captured Council technology and comparing it to Earth's current capabilities. Ambassador, we've determined that our technology now surpasses anything the Council ever possessed. Our quantum weapons are more advanced, our faster-than-light travel is more efficient, and our defensive systems are essentially impenetrable. Could another species pose a threat to Earth? Theoretically possible, but extremely unlikely. We've surveyed the technology levels of all known species. None come close to matching our current capabilities, and we're continuing to improve. The briefings continued for several hours, covering every aspect of the new galactic order. Trade, agreements, exploration missions, technological research, diplomatic relations, all the normal business of a civilization that had become the dominant power in known space. But through it all, Hyunwoo never forgot how this had all started. 1 year ago, the Galactic Council had sent Earth an ultimatum. Submit to slavery or face extinction. They had been so confident in their superiority that they had given humanity 42 days to prepare for surrender. Instead, humanity had used those 42 days to prepare for war. Not the defensive war the Council expected, but an offensive campaign that would reshape the galaxy forever. As the briefings ended and the participants began to leave, Hyunwoo remained in the room, looking out at the stars through the massive viewing windows. Somewhere out there were hundreds of worlds where humans now lived and worked, former Council territories that had been transformed into research stations, mining operations, and strategic outposts, and somewhere else out there was empty space where entire civilizations used to exist, species that had lived for millions of years, reduced to nothing in less than 12 months because they had made the mistake of threatening humanity. Dr. Lee approached him as he stood at the window. Ambassador, do you ever wonder if we went too far? Hyunwoo considered the question carefully. They threatened to exterminate our entire species, Doctor. They planned to enslave 60% of humanity and kill the rest. They had done the same thing to 47 other species before. I know the justification, Dr. Lee said. But complete extinction? Not one Velthari left alive anywhere in the galaxy? They showed us what happened to the species that refused their ultimatum, Hyunwoo replied. 18 billion beings turned to cosmic dust in seconds. They called it a demonstration of their power. And now we've done the same thing to them. No, Hyunwoo corrected. We've done something much more thorough. When they destroyed those other species, they left the homeworlds intact for later colonization. We've eliminated the threat completely. No survivors to seek revenge. No hidden bases to launch surprise attacks. No possibility of the threat ever returning. Dr. Lee was quiet for a moment. The galaxy will remember what we're capable of. Good, Hyunwoo said simply. Let them remember. Let every species in the galaxy know that threatening humanity leads to complete extinction, not conquest, not slavery, not subjugation, extinction. Through the viewing window, he could see a human patrol fleet returning from a routine mission, sleek ships using technology that would have seemed like magic to the Council species that had once ruled here. The Galactic Council sent Earth a threat, Hyunwoo said quietly. They demanded our surrender.